My name is Anna and I'm part of the marketing team here at Oxcom. So this webinar is just as relevant for me as it is for you guys. So I'm really looking forward to it. We know how important and what a cutting edge topic AI is at the moment. So I just want to kind of provide you all with some really practical information you can implement in your day-to-day jobs and kind of get ahead of the curve as it is. We're going to have the presentation from Robin first, and then there will be some time for questions at the end. If you do have questions, just pop them in the chat. There's also a special Q&A function you can use. Either of those is fine. We will get to all your questions, so don't worry. A little bit about Robin, just to introduce her. Robin is, I think I can say this, a self-proclaimed nerd. And she owns her own digital marketing agency in Sweden where she's based. And like us, it's Robin's goal to ensure that marketers understand how to use emerging technologies to their advantage rather than worrying about them, which I think we can sometimes fall foul of our fears rather than trying to actually utilize all this new technology that's coming about. So, Robin, I will hand over to you now to take us into the world of artificial intelligence.
That's a very big intro.
I've really bigged you up. There's no pressure now, Robin.
I know, sweating even more than normal. So yeah, as Anna says, I'm Robin, self-proclaimed nerd, and my education goes through data science all the way up to digital marketing and algorithmic theory. And MarTech and AI is an amazing tool to actually supercharge your marketing outputs. But we've got to understand how to use it and how to ethically understand it, and also understand the impact of kind of AI generated content has on marketing and the people that interact with it, the people that see it in their ads, the people that see it in their timelines and feeds. So as Anna said, if you have any questions, if it's immediately relevant, I will try to answer it as we go. But Anna will make sure that I leave space for discussion at the end. And so what we're going to go through today is content creation utilizing AI-powered tools. So let's start with the age-old question, what is content creation? So it's the process of generating topic ideas that appeal to your buyer persona. We create content as marketers in the form of written or visual content around ideas, and also making the information regarding our product, brand, or service accessible to those who interact with it. It's the foundation of all modern digital marketing efforts. And it takes many forms, like I said, blogs, infographics, videos, social media posts, and web pages. It is what we create to draw people in, to allow them to understand what to do next or what action to take to purchase or interact with a brand. So, how are AI tools supporting content creation? AI has revolutionized the world of content creation by providing big, powerful tools and technologies that enhance our efficiency and creativity of content creators and marketers. So from generating compelling text to creating personalized recommendations, it's become indispensable and an ally, really, in the ever-evolving digital landscape. By leveraging these algorithms, these tools, machine learning capabilities, AI not only assists in automating certain aspects of content creation, but also empowers creators and marketers with valuable insights and optimization strategies. It can analyze much more data than I can. It can adapt to changes quicker than I can and tell me about them. And it is paving the way for more personalized, engaging, and impactful content experiences for our audiences. So content creation using AI takes personalization to a whole new level. It can provide natural language generation. So up until now, it's actually been quite difficult to get a human-like response from these tools that we can all understand. So it can give us a human-like response or outcome that we can immediately use right out of the box. Now, I don't suggest you do, It doesn't take into a lot of things like tone of voice. It doesn't know you or your business or how you like to present things. It can just use its big sets of data and kind of give you a overarching idea or foundation to start with. It can give marketers back a lot of time. So what if you had an efficient assistant who could fulfill small content requirements for you, for example? Well, content creation using AI can be used to generate data-specific pieces of content, brief reports, news updates, and also things like messages within chatbots. And it can also be automated. A lot of stuff within AI actually can be automated and give you back valuable time on other parts of our big to-do lists that we have as marketers or people who are marketing things for brands. It can generate great fresh keywords and topics. It has the distinct capacity to process data and draw insights in a way that humans can never do. So when it comes to content creation, AI can provide valuable insights from analyzing consumer and customer data. And it can actually give you a clear idea very quickly about your target audience's interests and preferences. And that's how it comes up with fresh topics that will resonate with your target audience. And also within content creation, chatbots are actually keeping communities, customers pretty happy. They're proving really helpful in easing the responsibilities of customer service agents. And an AI-powered live chat tool provides 24/7 replies to customers and reduces your customer support efforts. Now, in general, customer support agents are creating support content all the time, whereas an AI can just go out and do it in less than 10 seconds. So that's all of kind of the foundational knowledge. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take different areas of content creation, talk about why it's important, and look at a tool that can do it for us. And all of these tools are free to access, or they have a set amount of tries within the free tier. So every tool that I go through today, you will have immediate access to, and you'll be able to try straight away. I know how excited you'll be at the end of this to give it a go. So what we're going to do is we're going to first look at content creation within copywriting. So copywriting refers to the process of writing persuasive and compelling content known as copy, with the goal of promoting a product, service, brand, or idea. Copywriters create written material that aims to engage and persuade readers or viewers to take a specific action, such as making a purchase, subscribing to a newsletter, or clicking a link, for example. So AI-powered tools can assist in generating content ideas and creating foundational drafts by analyzing vast amounts of data, understanding the patterns within its data sets, and then suggesting topics, headlines, and even generating initial paragraphs for you to begin to create your content from. AI tools can analyze data from various sources, such as customer feedback, social media, market trends, to provide specific insights for your copywriting. So your copywriting is more powerful. It is more suited to your target audience. It saves the time in the initial research area. So by using this AI tool that we're going to go through in a second, you can actually create foundational kind of content very quickly. So the AI tool that we're going to look at today is Content Shake, and it is part of the SEMrush family. It makes it quick and easy to produce SEO-friendly blog posts with the help of AI. So I just need to switch my screen here. But is everyone okay so far? Are we all feeling like
All
AI?
good, no questions so far. But yeah, if you do have any questions, pop them in the chat or do the Q&A, and we will get to them at the end of the presentation.
Okay, that's
we can
amazing.
see that
Perfect. So this is called Content Shake. So what you do in this SEMrush app is you go over to your settings and you input a business that you have or a business that you are creating marketing for. So let's put a food truck. Can you tell it's lunchtime? And what that will do is it will actually give you some related tags. So if we want to create more in-depth content, the better information that we give it here, the more it can go away and kind of take on and give you a better output. So food truck. So if I had a specific type of food truck, I could put kind of what type it was in here, but let's select the food truck events near me. So we're going to apply those changes. So what we're going to do now is go over to the idea section here. So what we need it to do is from our kind of initial idea, we're going to ask it to create a specific article. So this seems to be stuck actually on the one I had before. So the input I put in before was wedding photographer. So then when you actually go to here in the ideas section, it will give you 3 SEO friendly, highly searchable types of contents for it to begin its article writing for you. So let's select one of these. So what it's going to do now is it's going to start writing the article for you. It's taking a little while. It's got to think very hard. So it's taking the ideas that we have given it and the kind of narrowing down of the highly searchable topics it has found within its SEMrush dataset. And it is now going to create an article based on those terms. On the right-hand side, you can see I have asked it, well, it's defaulted to plain language, the word count, and a neutral tone of voice. So it's pretty cool, right? So without much input, it has taken that prompt and kind of created something that we can foundationally take away and use to make copy. It's even given us kind of H1 and H2 headers for your SEO. And what we can do on the right-hand side is also tweak all of these sections. Can you see the kind of differentiations that we can actually put in after? So we can look at the introduction. It's actually given us 3 different choices. So you can actually select a different one here. Now, interestingly as well, it's also brought up all of the competitors. So you can see what other people are using as the beginning of a similar blog. So you can make sure that you're different, you showcase your positives of why someone should work with you, and also choose different ones here. So how do we feel about that kind of tool, kind of creating AI content copy-wise? I quite like it. It's pretty quick. You can add your keywords in here, and it allows you to start somewhere. You don't get stuck in the research, the rigmarole, or even the thought process of sitting down and writing a blog. Because we do know that these kinds of content are incredibly necessary for all of our marketing strategies, really. So I'm just going to go back to my slides. Now we've done the first tool.
Sorry, Robin, just while we're here, we had a question from Megan about Content Shake in particular. She asked, what are the other options in the general section?
Oh, in the general section, I can share back my screen for you. That's not a problem.
For everyone else, we will get to your questions at the end. Please keep putting them in the chat. We're going to come to them in like a little Q&A session after the presentation.
So we have different readability. So the reason it suggests plain language is that's the kind of very easy to consume middle ground where the effort that it takes to read it doesn't outweigh somebody wanting to save time, for example. So It's kind of what SEMrush thinks is like the peak. But if you want something that is more technical, for example, and needs to include maybe more in-depth terms, very difficult to read, will give you more jargon from within a sector. It will give you more depth with search explanations and kind of terms used. For example, if you're writing a blog for a petrochemical plant, you may actually select very difficult to read because you want it to include all of that technical information. If you're writing a blog for maybe a school, somebody who goes to school as a student just taking their GCSEs, you may lower the difficulty to ensure that it's very easy to understand and quick to consume. We also have word count. So this is just giving you peak. So this is the kind of max before people who aren't particularly invested tap out of a blog. But again, if it's something very niche, technical, you may want to go much deeper with your word count. And then tone of voice. Now, bearing in mind, within every AI tool, these types of settings will be set by the AI tool. You will have to check at the different levels, because I could say to you, very casual might be okay, but actually on another AI that might mean something different. So make sure you play around with these settings within any AI tool that you actually use. Okay, so I'll go back to my slides now.
Perfect. Thank you, Robin.
Not a problem. So what is the biggest limitation of AI copy? Does anybody know already what I'm going to actually say? No? Okay. So AI copywriting tools analyze existing content written by other humans. They then take that information to produce something quote unquote new. So it's taking and creating this from a data set it has access to. So the copy isn't truly 100% original. So that's why I always say within any AI tool, content creation, anything that AI spits out at the other end, it's crucial to edit it, check it for plagiarism before publishing. And copywriting, for example, is a fine art. So while these tools can boost and support you to create foundations or ideas, I don't suggest that you then take what Content Shake has given you and release it into the world. I would put your brand's tone of voice. I would get it checked with your kind of target audience. It just gives you great foundations. And within Content Shake also allows you to cross-reference with what your competitors are talking about. So that's also a positive there. So now we're going to move on to content creation and social media captions. So social media captions are incredibly important for businesses, as we all know. They play a crucial role in grabbing the attentions of your audience, conveying your message, and encouraging engagement. They tell the story of your brand, they give your audience context, clarity, they give specific call to actions. And AI can support this process in several ways. So it can allow you to have access to big data sets that you can ask questions of to get into the mindset of your target audience, your ICA, your buyer personas, for example. You can also use AI to double check the tone that you have created the content within. You can ask AI to do hashtag suggestions, so it can look at data sets of people within your target kind of audience and see what they are searching within social media, saving you time again and giving you a place to start. And of course, we're going to go to my old favorite friend, and that is ChatGPT. So I don't know if anyone was in the previous webinar we did where we specifically looked at ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is a wonderfully simple user interface that allows you to ask specific questions, and it gives it you back in a very easy to consume way. So we're going to go into ChatGPT and have a look at how we can use this wonderful tool to give us foundations for social media captions. Just as I'm trying to do like 10 things at once to change the screen, has anyone started to use ChatGPT for kind of like content creation and things like that? And if so, how are you finding it?
Yeah, we've got a few answers coming in. Looks like a positive opinion so far. I also use ChatGPT quite a lot when I'm just doing kind of the boring copywriting that comes along in everyday tasks, and yeah, a lifesaver.
Yeah, and a lot of people forget is the more specific we are with ChatGPT, the more context and constraints that we give it, even included on what we want it to give us at the end, the much better it is. So we can do something basic like give me ideas for a social media post that talks about food trucks. I'm going to stay on this topic. So that's a pretty broad prompt in the world of ChatGPT. Oh, she's definitely having to think about it. Here we go. And the one thing that gets me with ChatGPT is its love for emojis.
It loves emojis.
Yeah, so the content that it kicks out is generally very Americanized. It's generally full of kind of broad strokes, I would say. It's the higher level kind of content, but that's my fault. And I'll show you why. It's because I gave it an incredibly broad prompt. So I can say, instead, create 3 Instagram captions similar to, and then you can put a brand in. Now, I don't know a food truck brand, so create 3 Instagram captions for a food truck based in London. So you can see I've already given it better kind of understanding of what I want it to kick out the other end. Create 3 Instagram captions for food truck based in London. General demographic is teenagers. Can you tell I struggle to spell when my brain's thinking at the same time? So what I've done here is actually given it much more context. It knows where I'm talking about, so we can go and check out all of that information for that geographical area. And it knows that I'm talking to teenagers. So again, the emojis are rife. But what you can see is it is now giving me hashtags because it understands more of where I am and who I'm talking to. Before, not so much. It was very broad, like I say. So what I love about ChatGPT is you can give it more and more information, even to the point where you could say, create a similar ad campaign to, I don't know if you saw the cereal campaign that was very good, very human, but for my food truck based in London for teenagers, no emojis. That's what I have to often tell it at the end, and it will just get better and better. But it's not very clever in itself. The clever bit comes in the kind of the creation and development of the prompts that you put into it. Because the more, like I say, constraints and information and references we can give it, the better the outcome is, and the more usable that content is, and the more relevant and the more up to scratch, really. Because I would never put the above out on social media, but these are getting there, if that makes sense. And as always, you can always ask it to regenerate if you think it's total trash what it creates. Because when you ask ChatGPT to regenerate, it is recognizing that what it gave you initially was not correct. So it's checking its data sets again, and then it's going to try again, basically, for you.
And we
Yeah.
just had an interesting question from Sarah Robin.
Yeah.
She's asked whether you'd recommend different ChatGPT accounts for different brands so the ChatGPT training doesn't get mixed up.
So when you're using ChatGPT, the only time it uses context is within the same conversation. So if you were working with multiple brands, for example, you could just select new chat and talk separately here. Its reference only comes when it's in the same thread, for example. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you. And
Yeah.
we had another question from Chloe asking whether you can use ChatGPT to translate content into other languages.
Yeah, I can give you a quick example of this. It sometimes struggles with the emojis, so the emojis may change to something strange. I'm just warning everybody right now. So basically, you would give it the ask, what we want it to do. But also there are like specific ChatGPT and NLP, natural language processing models for specific countries. So like, for example, Sweden has SWE 3, ChatGPT SWE, and it's basically, ChatGPT isn't very good at culturally understanding the language. So even though it has translated, it may not resonate with the Swedish market, for example. But if you use the natural language processing model or a similar model that has been developed within that country, that's going to be much more culturally sensitive, if that makes sense. So yes, it can, but as with everything, get it checked and get it checked for cultural sensitivity. Make sure you're not saying anything that you shouldn't by accident. Because like different cultures have different sayings, different slang, and you just want to make sure that it's appropriate before trying it in that market, before it's been checked by a native, for example.
Thanks, Robin.
It's not a problem.
I think we're gonna we'll come back to the rest of the questions that have come through at the end of the webinar.
I'm just going to answer Monica's. Yes, so the ChatGPT is not connected to the internet. It only has data sets up to September 2021. So the hashtags and trends may not be totally up to date, but in general, you could probably use them as a good foundation to start. Like I say, with everything AI, it's a good starting point. It's not the end product that you actually want to be putting out at the moment. It's just not able to check itself, and it's not able to be as up to date, and it's never a replacement for expertise or experience either. So okay, so let's go back to my screen. I could talk all day about this. I get far too excited. So can we see my slides again, Anna? Yeah,
all good, we can see that.
okay, so now we're going to go on to content creation in the form of images and infographics. So these, like, images and infographics, play a vital role in content creation as they enhance the visual appeal and understanding of the information we're being presented. As humans, we love to look at color, shapes, and understand more. It's one of the ways that social media actually took off, was because we can suddenly see and interact with kind of images and products almost in real life on these kind of platforms. Images can evoke emotions, tell stories, create connections, whereas obviously infographics, on the other hand, condense complex info into visually digestible formats. By incorporating images and infographics into content, businesses can create a more engaging, impactful, memorable experience, and it allows you to effectively convey your message, increasing the overall effectiveness of your marketing. So we're going to go on to one of the most talked about AI tools alongside kind of Dolly. And so this is Midjourney. And so Midjourney is an example of generative AI that can convert natural language prompts into images. Like I said in the little kind of pre-talk that we had with Anna, imageries from Midjourney have actually deceived experts in photography recently, and within other domains such as news outlets. You may have seen some of these incredibly convincing AI generated images, such as Pope dressed in a puffer jacket. Did everyone see that one? And Trump supposedly getting arrested days before the actual event. Midjourney relies on two relatively new machine learning technologies, namely large language and diffusion models. So you may be already familiar with the former, the NLP models, if you've used ChatGPT. So a large language model first helps Midjourney to understand the meaning of the prompt that we put in. This is then converted into what is known as a vector, which you can imagine as a numerical kind of version of that prompt, a lot of zeros and ones. And then this vector guides another complex process called diffusion. So basically it takes the language prompt, it turns it into zeros and ones, and then that is turned into an image. That's the easiest way that I can kind of explain that very, very quickly. So as I swap over, has anybody got any questions about Midjourney? It takes a second to load up Discord.
We've got some interesting questions about copyright law. I don't know if you want to come back to those at the end or do them now, Robin.
So Midjourney actually offers its premium subscribers the freedom to use the generated images commercially for any business purpose, such as marketing material and covering art or campaigns. So as long as you are a paid premium subscriber, you are totally fine to move forward and kind of use the content that spits out however you want to. Now, there are differences, especially with things like Canva, DALL-E, and you will have to look at the terms and conditions for each AI kind of process there.
Fine, thank you, Robin.
That's okay, it's not a problem. It's just Discord taking a second to load.
While it's loading, we've got a question from Issam asking whether it's just images on Midjourney.
Yes, it is. So Midjourney is just a image creator. It is not anything else.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go. Here we go. So Midjourney is all ran through Discord. I like it. I use Discord a lot anyway, but it gives you a very simple interface to a very complicated system, if that makes sense. So how we use Midjourney is you pay for your premium subscription, and then you get access to what is called the Midjourney bot. So we go in here, and what we're going to look at first is the imagine prompt. Now, I have a German Shepherd, and I often put him into Midjourney, so I'm going to do it again. German Shepherd, battling in front of a castle. Now, that's a very, very imagination-y kind of prompt. So we'll have a look at what it generates. So what it is doing now is taking that prompt and turning it into a numerical vector. And the way it does that, like I say, is to take the word that I have given it, puts it through the NLP process to then convert it into something it can use for the diffusion kind of side of it. So it always generates you 4 different variations initially. Oh, we're already at 46.
While it's loading, we had a question from Chris asking whether there's any differences between Midjourney and Adobe Firefly. I don't know if that's one you know about.
Yes, so Adobe Firefly is set through the Adobe Suite, and it has its own terms and conditions. So a lot of the Adobe Suite sits with under certain licensing kind of rules. Midjourney at the moment is creating more interesting images. It can do things like hands and faces better than Firefly, Canva AI, or Dolly can at the moment. And it's the one with the most open terms for marketing. So I could take that and use it however I wanted to, for example.
And I assume you need to have a Discord account to use Midjourney.
Yes, and to use Adobe, you do have to have other things within the suite and in general a subscription.
Great, thank you, Robin.
It's not a problem. So it's generated as 4 images, so we can have a quick look. Now, my German Shepherd's a happy boy, so I like version 4, for example. But what I can actually do is ask it again to iterate and enhance and give me more versions from my natural prompt. So that is what I will do now. So what it is doing is this, similar to how ChatGPT, it's taking the context of my previous prompt to kind of iterate, improve, develop that outcome. And it will give me again 4 options, which are similar to that. It is using that as its reference to make better the output that it creates. And then we will see what we get. So a really easy way that you can use this within marketing. So for example, one of my clients runs a clinical canine massage business, and we created some superhero dogs, as you can see there. So yeah, so it's given me 4 versions of version 4, and now I love number 1. So what I would just do then is choose to upscale that, and then it will give me a high quality usable image. There we go. So it's very good with animals, which is why I started there. So what we can also do is ask it to create I'm using this because it's a very well-known brand, Coca-Cola. Family enjoying a Coca-Cola. So as long as your brand or the business that you are working with has a website, it can find it, for example. So if I wanted to do an advert about how Coca-Cola isn't particularly great for health, I could maybe ask it to create an image. And what it is doing is giving you a contextual image that you can use based on the prompt that you have created. Now, I can't promise what is going to come out. Sometimes AI has a mind of its own. So hopefully it won't present anything particularly strange today.
Just while that's loading, we've had a question asking whether you can use another picture to generate the fill in Midjourney.
Yes, so I'll just quickly show you the other apps that you can use. So you can use Blend. So what you do there is you upload 2 images or an image into Midjourney, and you can create a prompt which is reference image as the Hulk, for example, or reference image as a Star Wars character. So they're quite fun. You can also do something where you blend, so you put an image of yourself and an image of a superhero, and then it will try and blend that. It creates some very strange outcomes. And what you can also do is upload an image and ask it to tell you what that prompt, what it looks like to it. So that's quite good when you're doing research and things like that. So you can start to understand how this AI tool sees things in its own way, and then you can create better and better prompts to get better and better things that you want out of the other side.
Got it. Thank you.
Oh, so yeah, it's taken the very old-fashioned Coca-Cola kind of style, but as you can see here, it's generated a random child on the table. And the hands are still not particularly wonderful. So it is all about, again, what kind of prompts you give it and iterating all the time to get better and better outcomes. But like I say, I do use it with my clients, and the example is here. Just higher up in my chat, where we created a superhero dog who was having a clinical canine massage. Very, very niche, which is why there's not many pictures. So actually being able to use an AI generated tool like this gives me access to that kind of stuff.
And sorry, Robin, just to clarify, if you're a paid subscriber of Midjourney, you don't have to worry about copyright issues.
Not at all. So you have full freedom, which is basically a license to use it commercially for any business purpose, such as marketing material or art. So you could even sell prints and things like that.
Perfect. Thank you.
It's not a problem. So we will go back to my slide. I could do a whole session just on images. DALL-E is also particularly fun to play with. But the reason I chose Midjourney for this session is that it does give the most options for marketing at the end at the moment. So that's quite good. So can we see my slides again now?
Yes, all good.
Amazing. So content creation video. So the AI tool that I'm going to kind of show you today is quite interesting because it can take your blog and turn it into a video in any aspect ratio that you would like. AI can support video creation in actually many ways, such as automated video editing, content analysis, speech to text transcription, for example, as well. I don't know if any of you use Descript or Otter AI. They're also very good kind of transcription services. So Pictory is an excellent AI video generator for creators and marketers who don't have experience creating videos, don't have the time, don't wish to sit there and create loads of reels, TikToks, or kind of content information, small short form video. So what I'll do now is I'll just make sure I'm logged into Pictory, which I am, which is wonderful, and we will check this wonderful tool out. So I'm actually going to steal a blog from the Oxford College of Marketing. So all you need, the reason I chose this tool is it allows you to just take long form content that you've already created and create video content out of it. So it's only one aspect of this actual AI powered tool. So what you would do is you would paste your URL in here. We click proceed. And what it is doing now is extracting the key messages or the video kind of content, storyboard, maybe another term that you've heard when kind of talking about AI. And it's gone through and it's gone, okay, this is the most important. What we then do is we click next here. Now, the thing I will say is about Pictory, it's quite stock photo-y. So I do suggest that you take the time and input your own branding, your own templates and things like that. But I will just select kind of any to start with. So we can do 16:9, 9:16 or 1:1. So let's look at kind of like a reels kind of level. It may start playing horrendously cheesy music when it's finished, so I apologize for that. Now, Pictory is an example of a tool that I think is on the right track and it is good to work with, but you still have to put the time in because you don't want to be putting what it's going to show us now out into the world, but it gives you the foundations to alter, add your branding, edit, and get you started really. To kind of create quickly professional video kind of content. Come on. here we go. So as you can see, it's very user friendly. On the left, you can update the visuals, add elements, change the audio, update the branding and styles and things like that. And it's basically a very simple video editor, and you can also edit all of the sections it has pulled from your blog. So I'm going to press preview. Now it doesn't give it in a very pretty I assume it's only me that can hear the really cheesy music. So as you can see, it's quite stock photo-y heavy.
Sorry, it looks like we're having some technical difficulties. Could someone just pop a message in the chat if they can hear me, okay? Great, thank you. Can anyone else see Robin, or has she gone black for everyone? Fine, that's what I thought. No problem. I will just message her and see if we can sort that out. Sorry about several. Oh, I don't know if Robin realizes anything has happened. Robin, can you hear me? Lovely. Sorry, we just lost you for a couple of minutes just then.
Yes, my Pictory decided to make my whole computer have a slight meltdown. So as you can see, it gave a very, very kind of stock photo heavy, old-fashioned feeling within the video. I don't know if anybody else felt that.
Sorry, Robin, we need you to share your screen.
Can you see it now?
Brilliant, thank you.
So as you can see, like I say, it creates a very kind of stock photo heavy output. It's quite an old-fashioned view, but if you actually take the time to go in and edit these kind of sections, it will allow you to take a blog and create a video pretty quickly compared to you actually sitting and doing it yourself. So that is Pictory. Has anybody got any quick questions about Pictory before I go on?
Just had a couple of quick ones. Is Pictory also free?
So you have a free tier on Pictory, and it gives you, I think, 8 videos or 6 instances. So instances are branded content. So it's a good kind of place to start. And then if you did need more than that, and you were doing a lot of blog kind of content, I think it's about $18 per month, but it does give you access to other things. Like I say, the reason I chose it for this is to give a example of how it can take non-video content and make a video, an AI generated video.
Thank you. We also had someone who wanted to know whether you can add in your own stock imagery. Yeah.
So on the left hand side, you can kind of add in your own visuals and your own elements. So it is worth taking the time to add in your own branding and uploading your own kind of elements and things like that in there.
And Maria wanted to know, how long can you make the video? So she was keen to avoid the same issues with it crashing computers and whatnot.
It's just because I've got so many AI tools open everywhere, so my computer just had a slight lie down. You can create as long as you want, but it will create whatever it deems the most appropriate for short form content in general. So it won't do less than 30 seconds, 15 seconds probably as your cutoff. But remember, it's trying to take all of the content of a blog in this instance. And you're probably going to be looking at minimum a minute, because the scene durations here are 5 seconds, but you can change this, like I say. Everything is adaptable within Picture.
Thank you. Most had 2 more short questions, sorry.
Okay.
Natalie wanted to know whether there's any built-in translation function.
Not really. But if your blog is written in whatever language that you are kind of focused on, it will just pull that information. But it wouldn't be very good at giving you kind of, you would probably have to double check that what it is pulled is the most appropriate, because it is not its natural language.
Fine. And final question from Maria, asking whether we could, whether you can add an audio recording or a transcript to it.
Yes, I can just show you very quickly where that is. So on the left-hand side here, you can also change and upload the audio that is available. So anything that you want to change is on the left-hand side, and then anything to do with the actual video itself is on the right-hand side here. So you can add a voiceover, for example, as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Robin. That's all the questions on this. I'm aware we've got some other more general questions from people from closer to the start of the webinar. We will get to them. We're just going to finish the content and then we'll do the rest of the questions.
Yeah, so back to my slides. So very quickly, I'm also going to show you the potential power of AI. So we can actually create a full website within 30 seconds using something called Durable. There are some issues floating around with AI content creation, such as this, and one of them is that in essence, you don't truly own it, as you can't export the code and create a template, for example. So you always need to double check. So if you stop paying into this AI system, you stop having access. Again, this highlights that it is worthwhile checking all of the T's and C's of any AI tool you wish to use to check out its future impact on your organization and who you work with. So I'm just going to load up Durable here. Has anybody tried these kind of really, I call them intrusive AI tools? They do a big job.
I tried one, but it didn't think it was very user friendly myself. But this is a different one.
So we're basically going to get started. So again, I'm going to go food truck. And we basically tell them what type of business. And it takes the area. Did you see that? It takes the actual area from Google where I am kind of based. What's the business of your name? Best food truck. I'm going to click next. So that's all the information it actually takes. So it has taken our geographical location. It has taken what we do. It has taken where we are, like I said, and what our name is. So it's just going to go through the basic kind of website building here. Now it's even writing me a positive testimonial. It's very nice of it. And what it will do is it will spit out a immediately usable website. Well, depending on what you class as a usable website. So as you can see, it's given us a hero header section, some nice images, an about us section. It's even written all of my copy, which is outstanding, really. And then it's given the services, testimonials of people that I definitely didn't serve, and a gallery. So I don't know about you, but it's usable, but I wouldn't say it was the most impressive website. But I do understand why there is a market for such things within AI content creation, because people want things quick. People want things immediately usable. People want to be able to press a button and it is there for them. So I don't know, what do you kind of like think about it? And as you can see, you can regenerate any section and it will go and rewrite the copy and give me an alternative opportunity there.
We've had
So
an interesting, sorry, Robin, an interesting
that's okay.
question from Nikki, who wanted to know whether using AI for website creation would cause an issue with SEO if it's pulling information from elsewhere, therefore duplicating.
Yes. So if you think that AI content in this kind of instance is not particularly 100% new, you would always have to check what kind of how it maps to Google, your sitemap, all of your kind of SEO information. Within Durable, you actually get access to almost like a Wix-like backend. So you have a mini CRM in there, you have all sorts kind of just directly within the system that you log into. And that is also one of the problems, like I said, is because you don't, in essence, own this. As soon as you stop paying, as soon as you stop subscribing, you don't own your website. So the ethics behind kind of AI generated content also falls to us as marketers to check that we're not ending up in a situation in the future that is not particularly positive.
Thanks, Robin. I think that's the end of the questions for now.
Okay. And then content creation for personalized ads. So creating personal ads with AI harnesses the power to deliver highly targeted and relevant content to individual users. So this is a really positive way to utilize AI. So a very simple one that you can go away and play with straight away is Google Ads. So Google now has an AI-powered toolkit, and within that has AI-powered ads. And you can go in and you can test its kind of ability to create, and kind of it showcases you what information it takes from search terms and why you as a brand or a business should create your ads in a certain way. So that's a really, really teach-worthy kind of moment if you want to go in and start to understand how big brands are supplying you with AI tools and kind of the content it is suggesting you to make. So I don't actually have anything to show you there because I can't log into my Google Ads because we have active stuff for clients, but I do recommend that you go in and you look at their kind of new AI toolkit, because there's also some great tools in there for you to find SEO search terms, fresh topics, highly spoke about kind of themes, very much like Answer the Public. It's kind of gone that way. So as always, I always talk about ethics within marketing and how we need to make sure as marketers we are not causing harm to the brands we work with and the people who interact with our content. So when marketers use AI generated content, there are several ethical considerations that need to be taken into account. So we should clearly disclose when content is generated or assisted by AI. AI generated content should be accurate, reliable, and reflect truthful information. It's also important to respect intellectual property rights and give proper attribution when using AI generated content. We also need to remember that AI models can be influenced by biases present in the data they are trained on, and marketers need to carefully evaluate the training data or understand where the information that we get out is actually coming from. So for example, ChatGPT, go and have a look at what data sets they are using. As marketers, we should always handle user data with care and ensure compliance with privacy regulations. While AI can assist in content creation, human oversight is essential. Like I always say, AI is not a replacement for experience or expertise, and marketers should obtain user consent when using AI generated content that involves personalization or data processing. This whole sector is growing at an alarming rate, and there's new tools, new terms and conditions, new regulations, new GDPR things that we need to take into account as marketers. So when you're using or integrating these tools into your processes, try and have these kind of ethical considerations in the back of your mind to make sure that everything you create is future proof, and everything that you create is not going to damage anybody's reputation or give out false information to kind of the people that you interact with and the people who interact with your content. So I adore this sector, and I am actually working with Oxford College of Marketing to showcase how you can understand MarTech and actually use it to optimize your marketing outputs. So this is a lunchtime course which starts on the 12th of September. And the areas that we will cover are the foundations of MarTech and why it is important for us as marketers to stay at the front of this, or at least understand it, so that whenever anybody asks us a question, we can answer it confidently and implement processes and things to enhance our marketing that are going to keep us relevant as brands. How to build and manage a MarTech stack, for example. Look at the different MarTech systems from CRMs to CMS to SEO and beyond. How to simply integrate MarTech within any organization, within your own organization, or explain how to implement it to decision makers that you work with. And also talk about automation and its role within MarTech. And of course, AI will go into all of these kind of areas. Don't know if I missed anything, Anna.
No, that's perfect. And I have put the link to sign up for the masterclass in the chat as well, if anyone's interested.
Yeah, and I'd love to spend more lunch times with you all. So yeah, thank you. Thank you for Pictory blowing up my PC. Do you have any questions that I can quickly go through before you all actually go to lunch?
Well, we've seen some questions come through from the very start. Sorry that it's taken us such a long time to get back round to them. But we had a question from Karen, and hopefully your webinar's kind of already answered it a little bit already. But she said that she works for a sight loss charity and wondered whether she can use AI to help with content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of these, I actually have a lot of sight loss in my left eye. I had an accident in 2014, so I use voiceover software. And anything that is within Chrome is totally fine to kind of navigate and get around with a keyboard, or utilizing the voiceover with the mouse. So yeah, all of these tools are good to kind of start understanding how to interact with these kind of tools.
Brilliant, thank you. We also had a question from Lauren, and again, hopefully your webinar's covered it a little bit. She said how to know which AI tool to use. She said she's used ChatGPT, but didn't know what others to use. But I think we've kind of covered quite a lot of best ones now.
Yeah, so I've tried to give one very easy to use AI tool within each kind of area of content creation, but you can simply Google AI tools for marketers and then just give them a go. Highly recommend trying them, seeing what the differences are, because the ones I've chosen I have an affiliation to. They're easy, they're bright, they're colorful. That's generally what I get drawn to, but there may be something out there that's different and you find that it works for you. There's no fear in this. As long as you don't connect it to an automation and have it churning out content, you are totally fine.
Thanks, Robin. We had quite a few questions about the implications of copyright law and AI. Is that something you can expand upon at all?
Yeah, so it's always, you always have to remember that, like I say, anything that these kind of tools create, they are taking from a data set or information that already exists somewhere if they are connected to the internet. So it regenerates, it churns out something else, but it is not 100% quote unquote new. So you have to then take it, alter it, add your tone of voice, but it's a great foundation to save you time and give you somewhere to start.
Brilliant, thank you. We had another question from Lucy asking, when it comes to brand guidelines, if you're creating infographics using Midjourney, would Midjourney understand prompts that include fonts or hex colors?
Sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. So the longer the prompt in Midjourney, the more there is the chance for it to get confused. So you have to talk to it in a language that it understands. So make sure you're using the correct prompt to give you the most kind of bang for your buck in terms of your output. And if it totally doesn't work, shorten it and then add more on within the same thread. So, you know, I did the Coca-Cola advert with families. I could then be like, regenerate, but set in the 90s, for example. Give it little pieces of information, because remember, Midjourney is doing a very complex process. It's not quite like ChatGPT, for example.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that makes sense. And we had a couple of questions about whether you can recommend any tools for creating infographics or newsletters and magazines.
So newsletters and magazines is anything that can do copywriting. So for example, like Content Shake, Copy AI, ChatGPT. Infographics, you can do infographics on Midjourney. Try Dolly, which is part of like the ChatGPT family. Be mindful of the terms and conditions when you upload, for example, client data. Make sure your client understands that you are utilizing different tools where that you may send their data, to make sure that your GDPR kind of transparency is there. So always check out the terms and conditions. Always check with the client if you can upload their information, for example, and just always be clear, transparent where you are sending people's data. But yeah, Canva generative AI is okay as well. If anyone has access to that, I'd give it a go and see how you feel there too.
Brilliant, thank you. I think you've answered Maria's question with that as well. So I've just got one more question from Lauren and then we'll round up. Lauren wanted to know whether there's any AI tools that you don't recommend.
I struggle with things like Durable, where you are trapped into an ecosystem, for example, which is pay to play, but it may work for you. You would just have to make sure that in your future for your business, you always incorporate that process or tool. You also need to be mindful that AI regulation and AI use may change at any point. So all of a sudden we may not be allowed as marketers to use AI generated content. So try not to rely on it. And like I say, any tool that kind of harvests or has strange terms and conditions around the data that you upload, I would avoid, because in essence, you want something that you understand, and you want a tool that you know where your data is going, or you know where they are pulling data from. So just check the T's and C's, look at the reviews online, use data initially while you trial it out and get to understand the platform that is from Google that's already publicly available. Don't be putting your biggest secrets in there. And then, like I say, just be mindful that you need to understand what each AI tool does for you and the impact it has on your marketing.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Robin. You are an absolute wealth of knowledge when it comes to all of this.
Not at all, just a nerd.
Well, thank you very much, Robin, for that fantastic presentation. And thank you to everyone who's joined us. We will be sending out the recording of the webinar to you in the next couple of days, as well as a slide deck from the presentation. But if you do think of any questions later on and you want to get in touch, just reply to the email that I'm about to put in the chat. There's also a link again to the MarTech Masterclass, which will kind of go into a lot of the stuff in even more detail. So if you have had your interest piqued, or you're still more you want to learn, please do sign up for the Masterclass. It doesn't start until September, so there's plenty of time to kind of forget everything you've learned and then relearn it back in September.
Yeah, I need more time to give you more info.
Yes. So clearly we could do hundreds of webinars on all of this. There's so much out there. And yes, it's the lovely Robin again who's doing the MarTech Masterclass. So if you have enjoyed this, please do sign up for that again. I think we're going to round up there. That is everything for today. Thank you for coming along. and for all your insightful questions. Thank you again to Robin, and hopefully we'll see some of you in September on the Martech Masterclass. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you. Bye. Bye.